We have ordinance on second reading. We have an ordinance 122-401, which is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of Brunswick, Title 8, Health and Safety. We are adding a new chapter, 8.33, Smoking in Public. Before we go on, I entertain any comments from my fellow council members and the public. Mr. Chairman, can you just tell us a little summation of what is that we're trying to accomplish with this?
Yes, Madam Council President, members of council, as the council is aware, and perhaps members of the public will recall, this ordinance was initially brought a couple of meetings ago, and on second reading, it was tabled so that the council could have a closer look and perhaps perform some amendments recommended by the council. That, in fact, was done. The new ordinance is modified in several ways, one of which, or three of which I should say, the no smoking ban, if you will, specifically only applies to smoking in the city of New Brunswick owned or leased vehicles, in city of New Brunswick parks, in open spaces that are designated in the ordinance, and no smoking at city organized or sponsored festivals or events. All the other provisions and the prohibitions with respect to smoking at distances from open area doors and establishments, outdoor establishments, were removed from the ordinance at this time.
Thank you. Any members of the council wish to make any comments or have any questions on this specific ordinance?
I'd like to make a comment, Madam President. So as the city attorney stated, I just want to state that this ordinance does reinforce the current state statute on regulating smoking in public. And I believe that it promotes, or it serves to promote rather, a commitment that we have to cultivating a safe and healthy environment, in particular for our youth here in the city.
Thank you. Anybody else? So at this time, we are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only. You have up to 5 minutes per person, one time up. So if any member of the public wishes to address the council on this specific ordinance, please come forth.
Hi, my name is Carissa Cunningham. I'm at 217 Harrington Street. I'm encouraged to see that there have been some amendments made to this proposal as far as keeping away from, as far as being close to public entrances. However, I feel like a major oversight that was brought up before that still hasn't been addressed by the council is the public parks. Because, in effect, you're going to be charging people, $250 on the first offense up to $500, right? And we talked about before how if you're on a roll ride or something, you're in a public park, right? So if you're homeless, for example, living in a public park, right? Because we don't have a homeless shelter here, okay? And then the Code Blue place is not open most of the time, right? So you're forced to stay in that area, right? If you're smoking, listen, some people smoke. Get over it, okay? In the public park, the homeless have a right to be there, right? Because there's nowhere else for them to be. So this law, in effect, goes after homeless people living in New Brunswick, right? You guys made changes for businesses, right? Because you care about what business people say in the city. But do you care about the homeless? That is what this smoking ordinance is about, right? If you care about the homeless people, you'll understand that if you put these fines on people, this will lead to people being in the prison industrial complex. If you, like even just today I was talking to a comrade and he was explaining the parole system to me, right? So I'm going to explain it to all of you, just in case you don't already understand, right? If you have any interaction with the police, that can lead you back into the prison industrial complex, okay? For something as simple as the police just coming up, talking to you, running your name through the system. A simple ticket can get you back to the prison industrial complex, right? For the most vulnerable in our city, this is actually really important, right? You guys cared about the businesses who didn't want you to not allow their workers to smoke outside, right? You care about rich people. But the question is, do you care about the working class and poor people, right, who will be affected by this ordinance, okay, in this very particular way? I support the idea of not exposing people to secondhand smoke. Of course, duh. Everyone agrees with that, right? But you have to think about everyone when you're designing these policies, right? There should be areas in the public park designated where smokers can go so that, right, there's at least a space where homeless people have a spot where they can go to and not get harassed by the police, right? Because what this will do, this ordinance will inevitably lead to the harassment of the homeless people in New Brunswick, right? They're already being harassed regularly by the police for basically nothing, right? This gives the police the justification for continued harassment, all right? So, you know, I understand major adjustments for rich people. Now, like, can you at least listen to some of the people who are going to be affected by this, right? And make those adjustments for the homeless.
Hi, yes, Danielle. Well, first thing I have to say, I think you should have put on this due to where, okay, smoking in public. What in this ordinance? You can smoke cigarettes, you can smoke marijuana, you can smoke crack, and I think you should have put it in full detail. What are you talking about smoking? What due to where? Can you please tell me, would that include everything? Cigarettes, marijuana, crack?
It is included, Ms. Danielle.
Huh?
It is included, all of that.
Well, I think you should have put it on paper where
It's on
people can
paper.
see it. Well, like I said, I don't see it. It just says smoking in public. And then due to where the number one thing that I should have said, but I know the city wouldn't dare go through it, I say no smoking in public in school zone. Due to where how the law, that used to be the biggest arrest. Due to where selling marijuana in school zone, I say due to where that's a big issue already, but I know the city isn't about that due to where, wow, you already approved 4 marijuana shops to be between 2 schools on Jersey Avenue in the future. But like I said, due to where, and I say it should not be due to where just with parks. Honestly, I thought this was really a connection too, where some of you seen on Facebook, and how many times did I tell you, well, out of the past 2 years, between the weather and people complaining about smoking marijuana in public, that was where the outdoor dining, where people were saying, I'm not bringing my children around someone it may be legal to have someone smoking marijuana. So I like I said, I think due to where this should be more than just this part. Like I agree, no secondhand smoking, but I'm beginning to go along due to where that you are just after certain people. And I know the city, like I said, due to where not concerned. I'm already disappointed when you approve 4 marijuana shops that are going to be in between 2 schools. But like I said, wow, how much smoking due to where, what do you see going on next to the schools? That's what, Jersey Avenue, that due to where basically most of the parks are, some of them are next to schools, so I don't see why you just put it for park instead of school areas too. And honestly, if anyone had caught on to me due to where I said, wow, where do you see most overdoses, smoking? Where do you see crime? I said, oh, don't list a street, don't list the area. Ooh, I said, what is it always happening next to? A bar or the parks? And believe me, as someone due to where I know with the crime, see it a lot, due to where I don't feel that this should be just along with parks. Due to where you have the right resolution, just like what the boardwalk, due to where it says what you cannot smoke marijuana even though it's legal. Due to where, please, I will just look into. Wow, it's not good to see the kids learning things and what I'm seeing in certain areas. Due to where what they walk past it. So I pray you look into the future. Due to where, come on. Certain feet away from schools the same way the law was. That was the biggest charge of you if you got caught with selling marijuana. Because that's my concern. I will say due to where I'm really beginning to think of due to where, as what I just heard, that, wow, are you really just after the homeless? But like I said, what, how many people, and I meant how many people do you really have it in businesses, in front of businesses, people are complaining? Have someone been around to ask questions ever since you opened up the 2 shops down here? Any differences with their customers complaining? Has anyone checked into that? You don't have to answer. Like I said, you're the main one who always talk about respect, and eventually you just don't have respect for others.
Good evening.
My name is Ana Herrera, and I'm a member of Proyecto Esperanza. I'm here to show support for the safe and smoke-free parks. As a mother of 4 kids in Brunswick, I really would love to see a change in going to the park. I have stopped to taking my kids to the park for the same reason, that I cannot be on the park and not be smelling like marijuana or cigarettes. So I know this is something that not only concerns me, but concerns a lot of people in my community and us as parents. I think it will be better environment for our kids, for our elders, for everybody in our community, and I really want to see a change. I am very confident that you guys are going to do everything to be able to make these changes, and thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Carla García, soy residente de Brunswick y soy voluntaria en los programas de Brunswick Tomorrow.
Good evening, my name is Ricardo Garcia. I'm a resident of New Brunswick and a volunteer member with Brunswick Tomorrow and the Esperanza Project.
Estoy aquí para apoyar los parques seguros libres de smog, de humo, porque yo creo que es de alguna forma hace daño a la salud de las personas.
I'm here to support safe and smoke-free parks because I believe it's important to protect our health.
También siento que las familias no pueden ir a disfrutar de un rato con sus niños a jugar porque siempre hay muchas personas fumando.
I also think it's important because a lot of families feel like they can't take their kids to play in the park because a lot of times there are a lot of people smoking.
Otra cosa es también que la parte que queda como basura daña la tierra, daña los jardines y se ve mal cuando es mucho en los lugares.
And also the cigarette refuse, cigarette litter, gives a bad look in the park, creates a lot of litter that's hard to pick up and damages the environment and the look of the parks.
También me gustaría que puedan poner, no sé, alguna distracción a las casas, porque afuera en los patios que están frente a las calles, las personas que salen a fumar a la calle, dejan ahí mucha basura y es imposible recogerla.
And also we'd like to see more attention given or infraction violations for people who smoke outside their houses but then throw the cigarette litter in the streets where it's impossible to clean up and creates headaches for other people and the environment.
Gracias.
Thank you.
This guy is doing city councilman. I'm a long lifetime resident. My name is Walter Wood, right? And this lady, Mrs. Clarissa Cunningham, said some good values today. You know what I mean? Now, I just want you guys to listen. I'm going to keep it short and brief. I'm on parole, all right? So therefore, when I did 10 years in prison, I smoked from time to time, all right? Because when I was in prison, it's a lot of stress, and I choose to cigarettes and coffee, you know what I mean? So as I come home today, a lot of things has changed. in my neighborhood, I see a lot of faces that I haven't even never seen before. Homeless, people that come from different counties, migrating right here in the city of New Brunswick, sleeping on the businesses in the streets and everything. We cannot even allow to even use the bathroom. Before I got incarcerated, they tell me that I have to buy something to use the bathroom. So therefore, if I'm just come home after doing 10 years of my life and I don't have no money, how can a public establishment tell me that I'm not allowed to use the bathroom because I don't have no money? So therefore, if I have to do a number 2, where am I have to do it at? You know what I mean? Because I can't go into a privacy of a public building to use a bathroom. You guys is not going through that because you got houses and everything to go through. I just came home. I'm on parole. I don't have nowhere to go. You see what I'm saying? After doing 10 years of my life. Now you tell me that I cannot smoke. Okay, before I left, you can go into, like you can stand outside a public establishment and smoke. Therefore, like this young lady said, if I smoke and I'm on parole, I have a police contact. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, when you're on parole, you cannot have any police contact. You is in total violation. You can go back and finish your prison time. So there's some issues that's right. So if I cannot go to a park, where am I going to smoke? If I'm a smoker, where am I going to smoke? You guys are not understanding this. Where am I going to smoke? If I can't go into an establishment, nowhere to sit down and smoke, okay, the next thing is a park. I understand it's kids. I understand it's kids. So now, what's the solution? You know what I mean? It got to be some type of solution involved. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be somewhere and see, my mother and father was heavy smokers. Heavy smokers. They smoke a pack, 2 packs a day. You see what I'm saying? So I don't smoke like that, but every now and then, I might want to have a 1 or 2 cigarettes. So if I can't go to the park, and you guys put in these fines and stuff, I'm at risk of going back to prison. You see what I'm saying? For a $250 fine that I can't pay, and then if you don't pay that, it goes up to $500. And listen, it is crazy. Let it make sense, city council members. Let it make sense. We have to find a solution to the problem. You know, not be the problem, but find a solution to the problem. Because there's a lot of people in this town that's our smokers that have been smoking for years. If you're a smoker, smoker is an addiction just like alcohol, drugs and everything. You have that nicotine addiction. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, you won't find a way or somehow to light up that cigarette. You know what I mean? Not thinking the causes and the events that might happen after you light up that cigarette. So I just want you guys to understand that I smoke, and my main thing is I don't want to have no police contact. I want to do the right thing, city councilman. You know what I mean? Because I've been gone for a whole decade of my life, and a lot of things have changed around here. And I'm a long lifetime resident. I used to work for the city of New Brunswick 20 years. Knew Mayor Cahill. I know all these Glenn Fleming, and I went to school with all these people. They know me. You know what I mean? I even know T.K. Shammy over there, the lawyer. You know what I mean? I know everybody. He's a good attorney, though. Expensive, but a good attorney. He's very expensive, but a good attorney. But you know what? I just want you guys to, when you make these decisions, you think about the cause and the was not, and what can happen to a person like me. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to do the right thing, and I don't want to violate my parole officer because I had a police contact over a cigarette. Wow, you guys gonna really send me back to prison, and I still have 5 years left on my parole. That I could do a third of that just for a $1 cigarette. Not even a $1 cigarette. So understand the situation. All right. Okay. Yeah. Understand the situation what we in, and understand this young lady about the cigarette butts and messing up our environments. That's why we have city park workers, you know what I mean? They can come around, you know what I mean? Instead of being in front of buildings, sitting, talking on their radios and all that, eating hour, 2-hour lunches. See, I'm used to all this, you know what I mean? Listen, do your job. You got, it's 8 hours. It's 24 hours in the day. 8 hours of that, you know what I mean? Because that's what the city guys get paid to do, interact with the city people, you know
Sir,
what I
I
mean?
give you one more second because you time yourself.
Okay, thank you, I'm done, thank you, okay, thank you.
Yeah, before I start, I'd like to say, like a lot of other people here, I empathize with people who want to support the ban, who don't want smoke in the parks. I also don't want smoke in the parks. I just happen to think that this ban is not the right way to go about it. My critique of the ban is that I think it doesn't really address the root causes of why people are smoking to begin with. I think if we really cared about, reducing smoking numbers, cleaning up from around our city, we look at the reasons why people start smoking to begin with, which is poverty, which has a high correlation with smoking. It's the stressors that are involved in everyday life that can be seen in a lot of places around the city. So, I feel like this ban is kind of just a band-aid on the solution, and it's letting what's underneath kind of festering. And once we look at those issues, all we're going to be doing is fining people, putting people in jail, putting people back into the prison industrial complex like was mentioned earlier. And to be honest, when I look at what the city has done, I don't really see an effort to address, for example, the poverty that drives people to smoke in the first place. In fact, I would say that this ban probably contributes to those stressors by fining people and sending them back to prison and whatnot. So I'd say if the city does really care about stopping smoking from being so prevalent, it would look at why kids start smoking, why people are driven to cope in this manner in the first place. And this ban simply doesn't do that. I think if we don't look at those stressors, it's a sign to our community and a sign to the city that we don't really care about this problem, and we're kind of just doing the bare minimum to look like it cares. So that was all I had to say. Thanks.
My name is Varapeng. I live right across the river in Piscataway. And I just want to point out that there might be a little bit of hypocrisy in approving, because I'm not a fan of smoking personally. I don't smoke. Most of my family doesn't. We're privileged to have had the education to know that it's no good for us, right? But there's addiction is addiction, right? We can say okay, this isn't good for you, we want to support you in doing better for yourself and for the people around you. But punishing people just isn't effective and has been proven for the past few decades of the war on drugs. All drugs, right? We had prohibition 100 years ago. We had the war on all the other drugs in the past few decades. But it hasn't really solved the problem and has only pushed people into poverty and imprisonment. And we don't even there's not even the kind of lip service of we're going to put the money generated by the fines public education on the dangers of cigarettes. We're not even doing that much. We're just punching people, collecting money, pocketing it for police $9,000 trucks, $90,000 trucks. We are not even we just approved a liquor license for people to sell drugs, but we're not helping people who are affected by substance abuse or in a genuine way. I think that means a little bit of a contradiction there. And I'm not very well with my apologize, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Anybody else from the phone that wishes to address the council in this particular ordinance?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Esther. Tengo 20 años viviendo ahora en Brunswick. Tengo 4 hijos.
Good evening. My name is Maria Esther Gutierrez. I've lived in New Brunswick for 20 years. I have 4 children.
Y quiero comentar algo relacionado sobre lo que han las personas.
And I want to share a comment related to some of the other comments people shared.
Entendemos su punto de vista porque son personas adictas y tienen esa adicción y no juzgamos, que no es una para juzgar.
And we understand that some people have that addiction to smoking, and we don't judge people for those addictions.
Pero quiero que nos entiendan a nosotros también, que queremos poner la pena de nuestros hijos, que que no vean que es cosa normal y que no vean que es cosa que tenemos que cortar esas adicciones, porque ese es el futuro de nuestros Brunswick, de Estados Unidos, así que realmente tenemos que cortar esa adicción.
But we also want to see that that chain broken of the idea that it's okay and it's normal, right, and to be accepted to smoke in public where parks where we don't want our children to see that and to think it's something that they should be doing as well. And so we want you to think about breaking that chain and the future of our children.
Y entendemos que relacionado sobre la necesidad de tal vez de la baño, eso, porque es algo esencial, pero fumar no es algo esencial para mí.
And we understand the point about people without homes need to find a place to go to the bathroom. That we understand. But we don't think that being able to smoke in public is something that's essential.
De igual manera, no queremos enseñarles a nuestros hijos que eso no es normal y que no es esencial para vivir. Queremos totalmente que crezcan una nueva generación haciendo la diferencia. Y solamente así vamos a poder hacer.
And we want our kids not to think that's normal and to grow up with a different mentality as a new generation. My name is and I'm also in support of the ordinance to ban smoking in the parks. And why? An example, I saw an adult sell cigarettes to a 12-year-old.
Y lo puso a vender y el niño pues es dinero, obvio a cualquier niño le va a gustar, ¿verdad? Y yo fui y puse la demanda a la policía y la policía dijo, no podemos hacer nada, los cigarrillos ya es normal.
And then had this 12-year-old selling cigarettes, and I went to report it to the police, and the police said, well, we can't do anything now, it's legal.
Y poner que hagan algo con esos adultos, porque ¿qué esperamos ahorita con los niños? Cuando los niños ahorita están niños y cuando lleguen al futuro, ¿cómo van a hacer? Algo, ya van a estar en la adicción del cigarrillo, de la droga. ¿Qué esperamos al futuro de ellos si esto sigue así?
And so what do we hope for the future of our children? That they think in smoking and drugs is normal, and addiction is normal. We want something different.
Y que pongan una multa a esos adultos que ahorita están poniendo a los niños.
And that we ticket those adults who are taking advantage of children that way.
Porque si ellos no hacen nada, ¿qué esperamos al futuro? Ahorita lo hizo con un hijo mío, y ahorita con otros niños, ¿qué esperamos? ¿Que sigan haciendo los adultos lo mismo por los niños?
And they did it with one of my children, and so what are we waiting for? That they keep trying to do the same with other children.
Eso es todo, gracias.
That's all. Thank you.
Anybody else on this particular ordinance? Any other comments? Hearing none. At this point, I will entertain the motion
Motion closed.
to close.
No, we have to move it.
Sorry.
Second.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Castaneda. Councilmember Gaskins.
Really quick, I do want to just emphasize that smoking on near any school is already illegal under state law. So, that's definitely an enforcement issue. Make sure to report that. We want to make sure that's enforced. I thank everyone for their comments today. My vote here reflects that of young people who have stated that they want to be able to be in the parks without seeing smoking and other certain activities. And so I'm voting yes on this.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes, as she said, it includes the state law, so all that, yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Okay, and we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the